The Moondrop Blessing 3 Aqua. Let's talk about it. The Moondrop Blessing 3 Aqua is on loan from a friend of the channel. This is an IEM that you can only buy in Japan currently, and it costs around $400, give or take. This is a 2-dynamic driver 4BA IEM that is kind of a continuation of the Blessing 3. And I do have a few major gripes about this IEM, but let's start by looking at the build quality. It's kind of easy to say that this is pretty much a Blessing 3. There's been the Blessing 3, there's been the Dusk, and so this is kind of an IEM that, if you're familiar with that, it's very similar with the Aqua faceplate and the tuning. It's a comfortable shell, it's a durable shell, it's a nice looking shell. I have no problems with it. If you're familiar with those IEMs, you need no introduction. It's translucent and it's fine. As far as accessories, here you go. You do have an airplane adapter, because yeah, there you go. And it's all around a solid set of accessories. This is the case, typical case for a Moondrop Blessing 3. Nothing too exciting. But let's look at the cable. The cable does have a problem. It is microphonic. It does have red and black for right and left. It's the same cable they used in the Harman, and I hated it then, and I hate it now. It's microphonic. I don't even want to touch it. I just use my own little cable instead. So how does the Blessing 3 Aqua sound? Fantastic. It has a lot of great qualities. A little bit of extra treble and a slight, almost like V-shaped tonality to this, but all around it's a nice overall sound that I really enjoy. I think it is slightly bright and is not an IEM that I would use on a daily basis, but I think it's super impressive. It has a nice natural tonality. It kind of takes what I like about the Blessing 3 and dials it up just a bit. It's a really nice, really smooth, really clean, but yet fun tonality that I think treble heads are going to like, mid heads are going to like, but people who really want an impactful bass, yeah, this isn't going to be it. But it does have pretty nice bass for a Moondrop. Let's look at some graphs and we can kind of see what I'm trying to say. All right, if you look at the graph, I mean, for what it is, it's pretty nice. It has a nice linear bass shelf, a little bit of upper mids and a little bit of a treble, but it's a nice overall approach to sound. I enjoy it quite a bit. Let's look at the original Blessing 3, and you notice the differences between that. Now, the original Blessing 3 has less bass, which, you know, it's not unbassy, but it does kind of have this almost bass tuck region here where it kind of dips down, which can help female vocals, but it doesn't really help the rich tonality. A lot of people are really big, like the new thing I would say in audio right now is almost having a little bit of warmth in this region here. So this kind of fits the middle between those and does a really nice job of that. What it also does is slightly dial down the upper mids, and it's just the treble is kind of a little bit slightly dialed down overall, but I would say it's maybe a little bit less exciting in the treble, but it's all around a nice overall sonic quality, and I like it. I think it's an improvement on the Blessing 3, in my opinion. Now, as far as other of Moondrop's IEMs, I mean, the Aqua does have a little bit of this upper treble. You can see it here versus the Meteor. And it's a little bit too much, but it does have the bass shelf. I almost wish you could take something like the treble of the Meteor and then combine that with, say, the bass of the Aqua. And I'm excited to see if an IEM could really do that and really capture that magic in the bottle and do that. I'm hoping that the Dusk DE edition from Critical will be good, and that's what it's trying to do. As far as other one of like Moondrop's IEMs, I have a bunch of them graphed and quite a few of them reviewed. I mean, its most recent one was the Harman. Way too much upper mids for my liking. The bass shelf was fine, but I kind of am more a fan of a slightly L-shaped. Like, I'd rather have more bass than rather too much upper mids. So it's way better than the Harman for me. As far as the Illustrious, I thought the Illustrious was fine. It was kind of crystalline, kind of pristine, but it didn't have a bass shelf like at all, and that was kind of problematic. And then you get something like the DD Hi-Fi Surface, which granted is a collab. It had a nice bass shelf, but it kind of lacked that incisiveness in the treble, which is kind of problematic. Now, you look at something like the Sleevo. I really like this Sleevo, but I think the Sleevo, it's kind of a approach overall kind of has this way. I kind of like exaggerated air, and that's just kind of part of my preference. For me, if I had to pick between these two, I would go with the Sleevo 224, but that's me. As far as other IEMs that are pretty reasonable, I mean, you look at something like the Daybreak, and the Daybreak did a really nice job. They have kind of almost the exact same graph, are very similar, but I think one of the problems I had with the Daybreak is that its upper treble was kind of non-existent, and so the upper mids here tend to be a little bit more prominent on certain things. Maybe I'm just spitting, but there's something about the Daybreak that came across a little bit bright and shouty. If the Daybreak comes across bright and shouty, I definitely wouldn't recommend the Blessing 3 Aqua, because they basically have the same tonality, other than the Daybreak has a little bit more bass. So that's kind of something to note in that regards. If you notice like this upper treble spike, now the Cantor, something I want to notice about the Cantor is that this is how it normally is, and this is how it is graphed when it's deep. Let me see if I can give that a different color. Like you can kind of see that in yellow, but like if you really cram the Cantor in there, it does do a good job at kind of rolling off this lower treble. But when it's not, it can come across a little bit bright and sibilant, and that's kind of something that the Aqua can do. So it's kind of a very slightly bright leaning set, a very tactfully nice bright set, but it's not perfect, but it's really nice. If you're looking at that tonality, I think it does it well. I mean, as far as some other sets, you can probably find a Moondrop, or at least here in the States, you can find a Moondrop Critical Dusk, and you can find a DSP on this for probably $250. I've seen a few in the used market. You might see it come down a little bit for the holidays. And so the fact you can't even find the Aqua in the States, I think, you know, if you're willing to use a DSP, I think this is a really great IEM to use and to take advantage of. It's probably Moondrop's best. There are other IEMs that you can get in the state readily that I would recommend over this. I would go with the Kiwi Ears Astral. Kiwi Ears Astral has a little bit less upper mids, a little bit less brightness here. That upper treble that I like, a little bit more sub bass. It's just a nice, well done, great tonality of an IEM that does get a recommend for me. All right, Blessing 3 Aqua. How do we rank it up? For $400 IEM, it does really well. It has nice technicalities. I don't think its mids or treble are perfect, nor its bass, but it is a nice, well-rounded IEM that I think is one of Moondrop's better IEMs. It really works for me and gets a high recommendation if you can get your hands on it. It's not perfect. There's a lot of other IEMs out there that I would do better. You would do better. Like, to show you, on the bottom of my sheet, you can scroll down and look at TWS and DSP, and you'll see that the Critical Dusk is like my favorite DSP or IEM style product. If we look at this by brand, I really like the Aqua. I think it almost competes with the Meteor. I think the Meteor just barely edges it out, and the fact that its treble is just fantastic. But it's one of the better Moondrop IEMs that they've reviewed at really any price, like the Variations, Illustrious, a lot of other things, the Dusk Analog. To me, it just has that nice level of fun, excitement, and it's just not too much or over. The Moondrop Blessing 3 Aqua is a funny IEM. I think it improves on not only the Dusk regular analog and the Blessing 3 for me, and it offers not only a beautiful IEM, but a nice tonality and something that's really quite lovely. I'm kind of curious as to why this didn't get released in the East or in the West, but it's an interesting IEM overall. I like the idea of IEMs like this that can kind of take a classic IEM and kind of redo it. I would change a few things about this, but I like the theme and idea of this, so that it does slightly change a few things for the better. It's a good set. I wish it was sold in the States. I think it would do moderately well, and it gives some people some options for those people that would want an IEM like this. That's really all I have to say about this IEM. It has a lot of great qualities. In the end, it's still a Moondrop, but it's a good Moondrop. It's a fun listen. It's a great IEM, and I think it's highly competitive at the price. Overall, I would rate it probably like 3.5 or 4 stars. Solid IEM, extremely fun, Very enjoyable for the price. That's really all I have to say. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys have a great day. Bye-bye for now.
Go!
Go!
Go on with you!